everyone, this is Sid here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing another OC challenge, so if you think that is interesting, please stick around. And without further ado, let's get started. So basically, I love warrior cats. So I watched this YouTuber named Bright Guardian Akira. And Bright Guardian Akira is an amazing YouTuber. They post lots of warrior cat videos, and they also post lots of OC challenges. So one of their OC challenges recently was to make OCs based off of these quote-unquote ugly color palettes. But I thought these OC color palettes were not necessarily that ugly, so I decided that I would also make OCs using those color palettes as well. The interesting thing about these is that these OC color palettes were designed for cats, and I will be making them into humans. Basically, the first color palette that I did was like a combination of purples and greens and browns. So I was trying to think to myself, how can I use these colors and how can I not use any colors that are not in the color palette? So I said to myself, like, even if I want to make the skin a normal skin color, then I will not allow myself to do that. I will make it one of the colors in the palette, no matter what. So I thought to myself, well, we have green skin, and so I can make, drumroll please, an Orc OC, which is actually really cool because I've never actually made an Orc OC before now, but now I officially have. This is my first ever Orc OC. So basically, I decided to make this little Orc OC. I was inspired by the starfish face because I had watched lots of her videos before doing this, and she plays lots of Dungeons and Dragons, which is something that I really want to get into. I've been doing lots of research on it, but if you know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, please comment down below because I think it's kind of confusing. I don't really understand what's going on, but that is a game where you roleplay and you can choose lots of different characters. They have lots of different types of characters like elves and dwarves and orcs, so I decided that I would make an orc. And basically I just decided that I wanted this orc to be like a traveler, trader, merchant type person. So basically he just travels around the world and he goes on quests and stuff with his friends, and I really love this color palette. Actually, I think I fell in love with it over the course of me drawing it because I was able to use the green for his skin and make it look relatively nice, along with the purple. I think purple is a really interesting color to use for his clothing because, you know, purple always symbolized like wealth and richness in the ancient times, because at first purple was only accessible via the murex shell. You had to crush the shell, and inside you would have the organism living there, which was like a sea snail, and the sea snail's like ink would spill out of the shell, and that you could collect to make the purple dye. But you have to crush hundreds, if not thousands, of these shells to even get like a salvageable amount of dye. So that's why only the richest people could purchase purple clothing, because the dye that you had to get in order to make that clothing was like insanely expensive. So maybe my orc is actually a royal orc. I don't have any backstories for these OCs, so if you'd like to come up with a backstory for them, then you may 100% do so. Please leave a comment down below, and if you'd like to come up with a name for them. I would love to hear all of your ideas and suggestions because it's always so fun reading through y'all's stories. Y'all are a very creative community that I have, and I just love that for y'all. Creativity is always amazing. The next OC that I drew was actually just a normal human. What a bummer, because all of my other ones were like extreme fantasy creatures and stuff like that, but this one was actually a human. And my mom said that she reminded her a lot of Rapunzel, which I mean I can kind of see it now because of like the color scheme and stuff. But this color palette, I had lots of different colors actually. I had like a light yellow, light green, light pinks and purples, and a like tannish colored brown. And I actually thought to myself, well, this looks a lot like Patrick the Star Wars color palette, because I myself have actually never watched SpongeBob before, because I mean my parents thought it was garbage, which I mean, to be fair, it kind of is, and they didn't want me to watch that, which I'm completely fine with because it's probably like brain rot. But I do know who Patrick the Star is because he's just such a famous world-renowned character at this point. And I mean, if you're able to recognize a character just based on their color palette, then wouldn't that be a pretty successful character design? Wouldn't that be a pretty successful color palette? That's what I would think, but according to Bright Garden Akira, apparently not, because they chose to put Patrick's color palette into this mixture. But basically, I just decided to go with the darker tan colored skin, and I wanted to do a like lighter colored hair, so I decided to do like that yellowish colored hair, and I decided to make like a nice fantasy dress, like an old-timey gown with like the corset on top and just like the boots. Don't question how my boots are just like casually over the top of the apron. That's completely wrong in terms of like physics and stuff, but I mean, don't mind me guys, don't mind me. And I did decide to add lots of little flowers on her dress just because I think it would make her look really cute. And I mean, Rapunzel does have this sort of type of dress, like a pink and purple color scheme, and she does have the long golden braid of hair. It might not be this color necessarily, because this is more like a greenish yellow color than like a golden color. And Rapunzel's hair, of course, is much longer. It like touches the floor and drapes all around her. And this one just sort of goes over her shoulder. But I do see the similarities there, so thank you, Mom, for bringing that to my eyes. You can leave a name for her down below. Do not name her Rapunzel because I have already considered that. And you may leave a backstory as well if you would like to. The next one that I decided to draw was a mermaid. And I had actually drawn a mermaid before. This is the only creature that I had drawn before, other than the human, of course, because, I mean, how could I have not had drawn the human? But I drew a mermaid a while back. I drew one in like July of 2023, I think. But I did a video earlier about how my art has improved, because it has improved a lot since then. My original mermaid was very, very bad looking. I believe Empath said it was like doing a Disney mermaid versus a Marvel mermaid, which I mean, Marvel mermaid would be a pretty cool idea. But I said that this mermaid looked a lot better. There's a few key differences in between them. This mermaid, since I did, like how I said earlier, want to go 101% with the color scheme and not deviate at all from it, has blue skin, which in my fantasy universe, my mermaids do have like a bluer color skin tone, just because I think it's kind of interesting. It's sort of like Avatar, if you've ever seen that. There's two different types of Avatar. There's like the one where they have the elemental powers, and then there's the one where they have like the blue people. So watch both of the movies with the blue people. There's like the Avatar 1, and then there's the Avatar Way of the Water. It has really cool like CGI effects and stuff, but all the people are really like blue. And they had these sort of like ones that could breathe underwater, and I just thought this was sort of like a little Avatar character, which is really cool. But I decided to make mine very like watery, sort of like how I did for V's water contest. I decided to make her hair like a nice dark blue and give it sort of like a ripple effect for the nice watery look, and give her some nice white freckles, and give her all of the seaweed wrapping and pearls and starfish and all of that great stuff. And I don't typically like doing like the seashell bra just because I feel like it's like too revealing. So I decided to make it more of like a crop top or something like that. I decided to add like more layers underneath just like because. So yeah, that's how I do my mermaids typically. And I decided to add more like layers above her hips, covering that part of her body. Just because like I feel like it's kind of weird if you have just like the tail and like nothing else. But yeah, this is how I typically draw mermaids, and I think that she was a pretty good mermaid. I did like her a lot more than the original design that I did almost a year ago now. Just shows how much art can improve over the course of the years. And the last character that I drew, who had a very, very interesting color palette, I think this was the quote-unquote ugliest color palette of all of them. It was like a combination of black and white, but also blue, orange, and red, which is actually very interesting because blue and orange are actually complementary colors, which means that they're supposed to go well together, but according to Akira, they do not. but I decided to take the opportunity and make an imp OC. So I have actually never drawn an imp OC before, but if you do not know what an imp is, basically from the Hasbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss universe, also known as the Helliverse, there are these little monsters who will live in hell. They are Hellborns, which means that, sadly enough, they were not sent there, they were just born there, which is kind of depressing. But they have red skin, and they have little horns, and they're just supposed to be little, like, demonic, devilish monsters, and they're very short and cute, but I decided to make this one have, like, a checkerboard pattern. I decided to look up some inspiration online from, like, the Descendants movies. If you haven't seen those, they're really, really good. They have, like, Dove Cameron, and they're about the descendants, or the children, of famous supervillains. So, like, Mal is a descendant of Maleficent, Carlos is a descendant of Cruella de Vil, Evie is a descendant from the Evil Queen, and Jay is a descendant of the Far. And they all go to school in Oradon, which is like the Good Kingdom, and learn how to be good people. But anyways, they have lots of like leather jackets and like studded spikes and all of that like emo aesthetic, goth aesthetic in that movie. So I decided to incorporate a lot of that into his character design. I decided to give him that nice checkerboard pattern over his shirt and add all of these like details with like the leather and the coloring and like the belts and buckles and all of that stuff. So I also decided to give him a mullet. I had never given any of my other OCs a mullet before because I mean, if you like mullets, then that's great for you, but I personally do not enjoy them that much. There's a few people in my grade at school who have mullets, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, are they seriously allowing this at private school? But yeah. I also decided to give him just like some scars to make him look even more like gory and gruesome and like tough stuff, you know? And yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. If you'd like to name this OC, then you can, along with all the other ones, like how I said earlier. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe because I post lots of videos like these very, very frequently. I post multiple long-form videos per week, and I post multiple short-form videos per day, actually. So you will always have something fun to watch, and you will never be bored. And it always helps me out so much when you do subscribe because it helps to boost my YouTube channel into the algorithm so that more people like you can see my videos, which is always such an amazing thing because I am an artist and I do love when lots of people get to see my videos because it always helps to support me and encourage me along with my artistic journey. And if you would like to do this OC challenge, then you 101% can. Of course, it is Bright Guardian Akira's idea, so if you give credits to anyone, give it to them. Do not give it to me, but please tag me if you do make a video because I would like to see your OCs, and I will comment and like and all of that great stuff. So yeah. But anyways, I hope that you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Always remember that I love you, and goodbye!